Yeah, good morning, everybody. Been a little bit for us with the bye week. Everybody kind of asked before the bye week if it came at the right time, and I think it probably did. I think we were a little banged up. Got some rest for sure. Got to work Tuesday. We did practice a little bit. Went light Monday, and then we were off Wednesday, and then got back after it yesterday. But they looked like they had just a renewed energy about them yesterday. A little more talkative than normal. I'd kind of, I don't know, addressed a little bit our kind of even keel philosophy, which we do have most of the time, and for the most part, I think that's okay. But there's times I would like a little more from them, and they looked a little bit better yesterday and refreshed. So I guess that kind of leads me to believe that we got out of it what we wanted to. Coaches got to go recruit a little bit too, and just kind of step back, focus on ourselves earlier in the week, which we needed to do, because you get in a routine where when you're playing every Wednesday, Saturday, you basically have a 2-game prep for each opponent. So you kind of at times probably lose sight of preparing for yourself and, looking at film and, of you and getting better. And you spend a lot of time focusing on the next opponent, and there's just always going to be a next opponent instead of focusing on what you can do to get better. And so the bye allowed us to do that earlier in the week, and now we can put our attention to Iowa State and continue to see if we can't get a little bit better.
Banged up. Is there an update on Tirza, and then is there anything else that would put anyone's status in jeopardy for Saturday?
Yeah, no, she's still. I think day to day is the correct answer and probably the truthful one. She's taking steps for sure. Will she be available yet Saturday? I'm not sure. It's tomorrow, so I don't know. But yeah, she's out there and putting in the work and trying to get back. Outside of her, yeah, everybody's available. Yep.
You're paying attention to the Kansas-Iowa State game, but anything else Wednesday catch you off guard a little bit?
Well, I think anytime somebody goes into Austin and wins, but I think they scored 91, if I'm not mistaken, 90 plus. I don't remember what it was exactly. So I think that one probably caught me off guard. Cincinnati got Oklahoma State, but Cincinnati's tough. They're hard to play against. They can defend. They've got some links, so they can do some things. But yeah, no, and I'm sure they were dying, and getting desperate for a win, and and it's hard. It's hard to win on the road, and I keep saying that, and every road win is gold, but I do mean it, and I think it's really, really hard to do that in this league.
What did you take out of the Kansas-Iowa State game?
Yeah, well, it was low scoring. The pace was pretty slow, low scoring. Neither team just really had much rhythm, I didn't think. Probably missed some shots that they would normally make. But Kansas is gotten better, and both are really well coached teams, and I think they're very familiar with each other, and I think it looked like that when you watched them play. It's probably one of those two coaches now have I think Brandon's been there 9 years, so that's probably 18 plus meetings, and they could probably coach each other's teams and call each other's offenses, and so that's what it kind of starts to look like when you get that familiar with an opponent. So beyond that, that's probably what I took from it more than obviously there's a few things we took from it, but I'm not giving you that. I ain't giving you that.
Is there when you play teams a second time, just your experiences with that when you're in a league and you got double round robin? Did you play in a league that was double round robin?
Well, similar to this one, at times it was all the way double round robin, and other times you play some twice, but not others. So unbalanced league schedule. But yeah, every league you typically play some teams multiple times, and so it's just I think you always are. You can't be naive to not make adjustments, whether you win or you lose. Obviously, we lost the last time up there, but played fairly well for 30-plus minutes, at least led for 30-plus minutes, but ultimately didn't win. And so we've got to be ready to make some adjustments, figure out how we can play a little bit better, but at the same time anticipate what they might do a little bit different. And so we've tried to do that, and at the same time just be better at us. And so when we get in that situation again, that we just have a little bit better outcome.
Generally speaking, it's not radical changes, right?
I don't think you go and reinvent the wheel at this point. You kind of are what you are, but there are definitely wrinkles to what you do, and each team's different, and each scout presents a new challenge, and they do quite a few different things defensively to give you some different looks and played us a certain way. So I think you have to be prepared to be better than you were if that challenge presents itself, or if they throw something else at you, you better be prepared as well.
How wrinkly was the low post defense against Iowa State as you go into the
second? They're good. The Audie Crooks kid is really good. It's a big kid that's dominant on the low block. She's not just doing it against us. She's whatever she is, 19 points or something like that in league play. Shoots it at a good efficiency. They're going to try to get her the ball. I don't think that's we know that, they know that. We've got to come up with a scheme to try to limit her, as much as we can. But she had a good night at Kansas too. And so if she does have a night, you better limit the others. But you can't let her go and then let these guards get going too, because they shoot it, at a really, really high level, and this is an elite perimeter shooting team. So, pretty balanced because they can completely play from the inside out, and they're a really good passing team.
How much of a luxury is it, or an opportunity, to get another crack at Iowa State when some of the one-loss Big 12 teams you're only going to have one shot at?
Yeah, no, well, every one of them is. And even if it's a one-loss team, again, they count the same. So whether it's a one-loss or a 5-loss or whatever, they still go in the standings as either 1-0 for the game or 0-1. But yeah, this is what it's about. This is the fun part, and this is the coaching back and forth, and this is the players buying into the game plan and being fired up to play and having great energy in a building that we've been pretty good in this year. And so I think that for me is, I'm just excited to get back on the court and play a quality opponent. But yeah, we're not standings watching by any stretch this early, but we know where they're at. We know where we are at in it. And if we want to hang around and do something special late, then you got to find a way to get this one.
On Jordan, just kind of curious, like when was the last time you look at the box score at the end of a game? When was the last time you said, man, we didn't get anything from Jordan tonight? I mean,
no, there hadn't been I don't know at all this year, to be honest. I mean, there's been a few maybe where her turnovers were a little high. I can't remember what game that was, but they were up there, and so I think she was disappointed from that one. But outside of that, she just sets the stage for us. She's the head of the snake, as we like to use terms normally when we play other teams, but that's what she is for us. She's the organizer, the calming influence for us, the extension of the head coach, as we all like to say. But she's a hard worker. She's earned the right to have this right now. The kid works her tail off and is just a phenomenal kid and a good leader and getting better at it. And there's still steps she needs to take in her career, and I think she knows that. But the transition for her from the mid-major level to Power 5, Big 12 has been pretty seamless. And yeah,
I mean, you obviously knew her, coached her at SFA. Did you have any worries or questions on what is she going to do at this higher level?
Honestly, no, I did not. Like, I really, truly did not have any. I just knew. Who she is. I know what she's about. I know what her family's like. They're just. And she was recruited to the Power 5 level. I mean, we got her because probably the relationship that we had developed. I talked about this, I think, on the radio show the other day. But Coach Grayson, who's with me now, and I worked pretty hard on Jordan. Jordan decommitted at one point from SFA, and Grayson probably had a little bit to do when Grayson left to go to Oklahoma State. And then I just worked my tail off, and I think I watched every game she played that summer to make sure she knew that I cared about her, and I really, really wanted to coach her. And probably her size, I think some schools probably overlooked her a little bit. But man, that heart is pretty big. And so, yeah, it's a pretty special kid to me.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you look at her and, she's small. And so I guess, that would be the biggest question coming to the high level.
But, and that's never really I've never really wanted to get wrapped up into size. I think you do, and sometimes potential is wrapped up into size, and potential just means you hadn't done it yet. And that scares me as a basketball coach, like I don't want to be recruiting off potential all the time. I need to know that you can do it. But she played on a great high school team, really good AAU team with some, the best players in the country. So she played against and played with high-level, high-major talent. So that's why I really wasn't worried about her either, because I'd seen her do it, and I've coached her and like I said, been through some battles with her. But, yeah, I'm proud of her, no doubt.
Coach, she's shooting 50% this season. I mean, you don't really see that with guards too often. Is that another sign of her just ability to make smart decisions on a play?
Yeah, it's maturity. I think she's grown up. I mean, if you would have seen her now about the first, and she would laugh probably about this, her first 8 games, though, as a freshman she wasn't making anything. That kid was playing so fast. Shooting every 3 was a side step to the left off a ball screen. Like you thought she was Kyrie or somebody like that, and we finally had to get her like, all right, Jordan, like we're not shooting those until we make the right ones first. And so it just went really fast for her, but that was also her freshman year, and we threw her in, and she was the starting point guard from day one for us there. And so the game has slowed, and you can see that now, and so she's getting the right shots in the right places at the right time. But at the same time, she's finding other people too, and I think she's still second or third in our league in assists. I want to say, third. Yeah, so she's still doing a great job, finding her teammates in the right spots, but still scoring for us too.
This shutout deal you got going in the first quarter, have you kind of wrapped your arms around that? I mean, that's hard to do. Team will, throw one up and it'll go in, or you'll get a free throw. You've done that in 2 conference games.
Yeah. I mean, we have, and it's special, and I don't want to take anything away from that or for our team because, I mean, we've played really hard in those quarters. There is a little luck, I guess, that goes in that as well. And I was even watching I think it was the Cincinnati game back, and they got 3 people on inside position, comes right to the kid, and she, tries to, in the air, kind of tip it back in and misses it, and then, Kaya hits it out of bounds just to save the possession. You're like, okay, that, we got a little lucky on that possession. But, we had turned people over and made them uncomfortable and some things like that in that quarter. I think that, so again, I want to give credit to our kids and how hard they're playing. These opponents, I mean, they missed some shots that they would probably, make on a lot of nights too. So they're better than that. But, to do it twice and it to be the first time in NCAA history, when you're making history, that's pretty special. That's pretty cool.
I mean, beyond that, the goal is single-digit quarters, and you've had several of those this year. Why so good in the first quarter?
Yeah, I don't know. I think our approach, we prepare the right way. I'm sure the way we play is different, so it's probably not the easiest thing to prepare for, and especially on a short notice. And that's when we put it in years ago. I think I've talked about that too. When I was a D2 coach and you get into tournaments, you're playing back to back. You get in the NCAA tournament, first you play on a Friday, Saturday, you get Sunday off, and you're already playing in the regional final on Monday. And so it was like, wow, if you got to prepare for us on, with no practice and maybe not even a shoot around, that might be kind of difficult. And so I think it's just, we just kind of can come at you in waves a little bit, and that ball pressure can be pretty good. And Jordan and JJ can kind of set a tone up there and, and then settled in offensively enough to set up the defense.
One last one with Jordan and kind of the way she kind of works with JJ. The fact that Jordan can run the offense, and she's obviously very good at passing the ball. It kind of allows JJ to do other things, whereas if JJ had to concentrate on running the show, she may not be as good as what she's been. I mean, there's truth in that.
Yeah, I think there's a balance with it. Yeah, without question, it allows JJ to, maybe rest for a few seconds. She's our best scorer, and everybody knows that. And so give her a little bit of a rest to be great when the ball's in her hands. Let Jordan take some of that away from each other. We'll play JJ at the point too. So she's going to get opportunity to handle the ball plenty, regardless of the position. And then JJ's an elite on the ball defender as well, and so it saves her to be, as good as she is and get all these steals that she's getting because of, how talented she is. So we have to be a little careful with Jordan too, because, just some of the minutes and everything we ask her to do. But yeah, the two of them is a pretty good compliment. And, I thought it could kind of work like this, but I hadn't had 2 small guards like this that are this good on the ball. But they definitely can play off of each other. And what I've really noticed, even in the last couple of weeks, is JJ's really starting to play off of Jordan on the defensive side. Jordan's been in the system longer, of course, so she has a little bit better understanding, but I feel like JJ's really started to kind of figure this out just in the last couple of weeks. I keep checking her on film, and I'm like, hey, that ain't good job, kid. We are getting somewhere where earlier in the year, we just weren't quite getting some of the rotations and things like that. But yeah, she's really started to kind of figure this out.
Standings watch with the team yet. Obviously, the players can seek out all that information on their own, but at what point does that become part of the conversation? Net ratings, bracketology, things of that nature?
Yeah, I don't know when it all. I mean, we did talk about the standings, I think, at the beginning of the bye week, just to kind of, hey, let's have a reset here. We can catch our breath. Let's talk about it. I think we did print it out and show it to them. Some locker rooms, have it up there where you can see it daily. I haven't really done that. With the technology now, we can't fake it either, because you said they can go get it. They can get all the information that I can give them now. Back in the day, nobody could do that. So you could trick your players, right? I mean, you could trick them into whatever the heck you wanted to. You could give them any scouting report and make some kid look great because they couldn't go find the information that we had. Now our players have access to all of that, so the tricking is over. I don't know when we'll start talking about it. It's not even, I don't think. What are we? We're not even. We won't even be halfway through the league schedule. Until next week, I guess. So we're not even halfway through this thing yet. So maybe when we get to the last, back half, I think probably is when we start to really dive into that and talk about it and kind of see where we're at.
You made your guys' job a lot tougher, I guess.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, no doubt.
But these next couple weeks can separate people. That's obviously clear to your players.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought even this last week with some of the games being played could have separated a little bit. Some of the matchups dictate that. Obviously our game on Saturday is a big game based on, two teams that are in the top 4 in the league, so something shakes out. So it will start to separate a little bit, and you just want to hang around as long as you can and give yourself, like I say, a chance to do something, at the end of it.
After the Houston game, you brought up Coach Rick Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys still in touch? You talk frequently?
Yeah, I wouldn't say frequently, but yeah, no, he was just up here a few weeks ago. I do know that. We were on the road, so I missed him when he was up here visiting his family. So, but whether it's social media or a text here and there, when I got the job, he was one of the first people to reach out. So, I owe a lot to that guy. I mean, I learned a ton from him, and I really only worked for 2 people, and then I got a head coaching job at like 28 or 29 years old. So from them, I've kind of done it. Not that you're not still learning from people, but not as a complete mentor, as a head coach that I worked for. And so, no, Rick was that guy, he could coach. He was intense. He was the best defensive guy I've ever been around, and he got those kids to play so hard, and he was tough, and he was tough on me. And at the time I didn't get it, and I was a young guy that came from Austin College and was a really good player. And, now I'm turning over to the coaching side, and there was another assistant there named Charlie Schaaf at the time, and those 2 guys kind of took me under their wing. So, that was my start. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. And then the irony of him being a Bridgeport, West Virginia guy, and I end up here is crazy. But this basketball will do some crazy stuff and bring you to some cool places.
So the defensive influence comes from him.
Yeah, he didn't play the way I play, but some of some of that toughness and some of the fiery in which you don't see it a ton. And, the older I get, I probably get a little less animated on the sideline than I used to, but he was a pretty animated guy on the sideline, but just how important defense is, and that defense travels, and, some of those kind of things. And there's some other sayings that I still remember him saying that I bust out from time to time, and, that were pretty good. I cannot share those.
Although I am curious about this, Coach. Some of the ESPN Plus broadcasts have shown how you interact with players before games and what you say to them. I'm curious if you consider yourself almost more like a teacher in some of those moments rather than a coach. Do you feel that way, that coaching and teaching are kind of aligned?
Yeah, I do think they're aligned. And I've said this too. If some of my former players came and watched me coach now, they would laugh at, the coach Kellogg today. But I think our student athletes have changed a little bit too. And so that interaction has changed. And I've been cognizant of that. And I think you have to be as a coach. I mean, you can't do what you did 20 years ago today. And no matter what era you coached, it changes. And so I think I have to be able to adapt. But yeah, I've used the word consistent. Right? When I first got here, I told you guys that, I think at the press conference, I just want to, as much as I can, I want to be the same guy every day for these kids. And I think that's probably fairly close to accurate. Now, not always, and I can get fired up or have a bad day here and there, but for the most part, be that, and talk to them like they would want to be talked to, but there was times, and we've had a couple halftime locker room speeches that I'm glad weren't recorded because, but that was for us. And that was a moment that I didn't think we were reaching a standard. And so for me, it's always holding them to a standard that I've seen be successful. And if they don't meet it, then I'm going to let them know that. If they're meeting it, I want to let them know that. But yeah, talk to them, teach them the way you would anybody. If I don't like it, let them know I don't like it, but it don't mean that it's personal. Just means you're not meeting the standard, and so I don't apologize for that. But yeah, trying to be consistent with them is all that it is.
Message to the fans. I know the atmosphere you were at out in Hilton impacted that game. What can the fans do tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I hope we can continue to grow this fan base. I think we have a team that they should be proud of, regardless of, how we finish, but up to date and, the passion that this state has. And I've seen the support that the men are getting. And obviously I was at the football games and what they get. And, I just want it to continue to grow. And I think we're doing everything that we're supposed to do on our end. We're here in year 1 and we're ranked and been ranked for, a few weeks now. And we're sitting here at 16-2 and top 4 in the league. I mean, it's almost like, what else do you want from us a little bit? And so just, and the influence that you can have, because we felt it in Hilton, and, they say it's Hilton magic, and there may be something a little bit to that. But yeah, I want our kids to get to experience the same thing on their home floor, where we have been good and the crowd was good, and they're getting better, and I anticipate that they will continue to grow. But I want them to grow exponentially if we can do that and really just build something special here that this state and this region can be really proud of. And I think we're well on our way and maybe a little ahead of the schedule, ahead of the curve. But it doesn't mean we should take any longer to do it, right? Let's keep building it. Yeah, why not now? Why not us?
Did you happen to watch the game last night? It was a pretty good atmosphere. LSU.
I watched it off and on while I was doing a few other things. But it was a great. I mean, they've been all over the country right now. Like, it's growing. Women's basketball it's exploding. We saw it a year ago in the Final Four, but it's Ohio State had 18,000 for their game with Iowa a week ago. Like, it's happening. And then Columbus, how far is Columbus? 3.5 hours? Like 3 hours, whatever it is to Columbus. Like, well, come on, let's head east now and let's do the same thing here at West Virginia if we can. Let's have something like that. I think our kids deserve that opportunity as well.
Your tournament's got its own TV deal now.
Yeah, yep. So just continue to get opportunities, but we need to get on national TV too. That's another opportunity that we haven't had yet, and we don't have that this year, and that comes through the league too. And so we got to challenge them, but we got to put a product out there that warrants national coverage. But when you're ranked in the top 25, I think that probably warrants some coverage.
Coach, I didn't catch the name of the coach you were talking about earlier with
Rick
defense.
Cooper.
Rick Cooper. Coming up in a few games, like UCF's coming here. You obviously went down there. Carey's down there. Did you have a chance to talk to him when you were down there? Have you had a chance to interact with him or get to know him?
Yeah, no, I had not ever met Coach Carey, but I did talk to him before that game and went and shook his hand and thanked him for what he did here. And he's here quite a time, a while, and to be here 20 plus years at any, as a basketball coach, that's a long time. And when you talk about longevity like that, then you did something really, really special here. And I see those banners every day in the practice, facility, and he was a big old huge piece of that, and I think we're going to honor him a little bit before the game on Tuesday, which is well deserved. And I'm glad we're doing that because when you come back for the first time, I've never really done it as a coach, but I can only imagine the emotion that he'll feel, and I think we owe it to him for that. And just to say thanks, and we appreciate him. And he seemed to be doing fine when I saw him. I think he lost was it his mother-in-law? I want to say I think had passed away recently, so he had been back. Fairly recent, but it'll be nice to welcome him back in that way.
He usually makes a pretty good first impression. What was his first impression?
Yeah, no, that was it. He didn't actually say much. I did most of the talking, and this was just a few minutes before the game, so we didn't have a ton of time to talk, but just, to reiterate that I was thankful for him and appreciated him, and I knew everything that he had done, and, his imprint here is going to last a long time.
As a joke.
Yeah, no, he didn't have a joke. I was probably too close to game time, and we were ready to go to battle, so it wasn't a time to tell jokes. But maybe this summer recruiting, or we can sit down and have those conversations.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks, guys.